When I was younger, I didn't really know what it was, but I remember if I did really bad at school something, I would come home and like get knitting needles and start like poking my arm. For some reason, I didn't really understand why I did that. And after my dad passed away, I just became very irritable around my family and my mom, and then I just started like lying a lot and becoming very manipulative and wanting to be alone. And I think that's when I kind of realized maybe something's a bit off.
For me, I can remember sitting in her therapist's office getting feedback and being told that Jessie, that Jessica was like she had an empty core that wasn't getting filled. So there was just this emptiness inside her, and this is not just anxiety. I'm not saying anxiety isn't serious, but this was something that we would probably have to live with for a very long time and treat for a very long time.
Clinical depression is very different to having the blues. Many people have experienced a day when we feel sad or down, but clinical depression is actually quite serious, and it has severe impairments in your social, work, as well as family functioning and personal functioning. So it's quite a severe mental disorder, and it affects all aspects of your life. With classifying childhood depression versus adult depression, it's quite tricky. For one, children develop at a rapid rate and are constantly in transition, so their brains are constantly surging. Children also, some of their symptoms mirror clinical depression, so acting out behavior, having temper tantrums, being a bit rebellious or defiant, are some of the typical symptoms that you'll find teenagers and young children experience. And often we also find that there's a big stigma still attached to mental illness, particularly in children. So you often find parents not wanting to go for help. How will their children get impacted? How will they be stigmatized or alienated?
The day I found out I was depressed was when I tried to take an overdose and I ended up in hospital, and they wouldn't let me go if I didn't see a psychiatrist. And when I saw him, we were sitting there and he said, "What must I do with you?" And I said, "Put me into a mental home because I can't take it anymore." I just felt like I couldn't do this anymore and I needed help.
1 in 36 children will experience childhood depression. 1 in 18 teenagers will have experienced mood disorder. And what we also find is children that have been diagnosed with a mental or mood disorder before the age of 12, 1 in 10 of those would have committed suicide. So it is actually very serious. The first things for parents to know about what steps to take is firstly to be aware of noticing changes in the child's behavior, understanding what are the typical symptoms of a child displaying just general moodiness, or whether there's actually a severe problem here. And some of the things then, once the parent has identified that there is a problem, to check in with the school and find out collateral information whether they also believe that there's something different in the child's behavior, and then to seek professional help. I find in my own practice 2 things. For one, children often feel relieved that they actually know that there's something wrong with them, that it's not just put down to bad behavior, and that their parents are actually taking a step to seek help. And once the treatment process begins, there's a huge sense of, wow, you know, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. There are some other children, and it's often again mirrored by how their own system understands this illness, is shame. They often feel very ashamed about this problem. There's not a physical scar to show that there's hurt and pain, so they often find it very difficult to speak out and to access help.
If I have one thing that I'd like to say to parents who might see signs of depression, anxiety in their children, the most important would be, don't ever mistrust your own gut instinct, believe it. And then the second, don't be shy about looking for the right help.
I feel happy about life in general, and like there's more to look forward to. You know, I'm doing the things that I love, and I'm trying to do them well, and I'm getting somewhere with it. And I feel happier, I feel healthier, I feel a lot better than I did.
A message that I'd like to lay out to teenagers is that depression and suicide should not be a secret. Rather lose the friendship than lose the friend. Make a point to tell somebody how you're feeling. If you know of a friend that has shared something with you, loyalty out the window, and rather speak up and tell an adult that you can trust about this problem.